The resolution of the Jeffrey Dahmer case, in many ways, felt like a tragic and horrifying end to a string of disappearances that had gone unnoticed for far too long. By the time Dahmer was apprehended, the full scope of his crimes had already become apparent, and his arrest marked the conclusion of one of the most chilling serial killer investigations in American history. Dahmer was finally apprehended on July 22, 1991, after one of his intended victims, 32-year-old Tracy Edwards, managed to escape. Edwards had been lured to Dahmer's apartment under the pretense of a paid sex act, but once there, Edwards began to feel uneasy. Dahmer had drugged him, and as Edwards grew more disoriented, Dahmer handcuffed him and began to make bizarre, disturbing statements about his desire to keep Edwards as his friend. However, Edwards managed to break free and fled the apartment, running into 2 police officers who were patrolling the area. Edwards, though shaken, led the officers back to Dahmer's apartment. When the police entered, they found photographs of dismembered bodies, body parts in various stages of decomposition, and other unsettling evidence that immediately signaled the gruesome nature of Dahmer's crimes. Dahmer, despite being confronted with the evidence, attempted to deny the allegations, even though his confession would come later. He was arrested on the spot. Dahmer's arrest brought an end to a reign of terror that spanned over a decade. He confessed to the murder of 17 young men and boys, and his grisly collection of body parts was uncovered within hours of his arrest. Over the next few months, Dahmer cooperated with investigators, leading them to his apartment and providing detailed confessions of each of his murders. The sheer scale and brutality of his actions sent shockwaves through the nation, and the media became consumed with the grisly details of his crimes. The investigation into Dahmer's activities was extensive. Authorities scoured his apartment, finding human remains in his refrigerator, freezer, and even in barrels of acid. The more they uncovered, the more they realized just how disturbing his actions had been. Dahmer had kept photographs of his victims in compromising positions, along with their dismembered remains. He had also carefully documented the murders in a journal, detailing each of the horrific acts in chilling detail. Dahmer was charged with 17 murders, but the true number of his victims may never be known. In his confession, Dahmer spoke of his compulsions and how he sought to satisfy them through brutal acts of violence. His motivations were tied to an obsessive need to possess his victims and exert control over them, even after death. His actions were cold, calculating, and devoid of remorse, leading many to conclude that Dahmer was a true psychopath.